Some of you are living in a low-grade stress response right now, and you do not even know it. Not because of your job, not because of your relationships, not because of your finances, but because of your pile of papers on your desk, the laundry on the chair, the 23 tabs open in your browser. Your nervous system is treating every single one of those objects as unresolved tasks, and it is costing you more than you think. Here is what the neuroscience actually tells us. Physical clutter in your visual field activates your amygdala, the threat detection center of your brain, within milliseconds. Before you even consciously register that mass, your body has already started producing cortisol. And this is not just my opinion. This is what fMRI studies show us. In 2010, and Princeton Neuroscience Institute published a study that should have changed how we design our homes, our offices, and our lives. They use functional MRI scan to observe brain activity. Participants process visual scenes more orderly and some chaotic. When subjects view cluttered environments, there was significant activation in the anterior cingulate cortex and the insula, two regions directly involved in threat appraisal and stress regulation. The brain was not just processing mass, it was processing danger. And here is why this matters for you, especially right now, today. Your visual cortex processes approximately 10 million bits of information per second. Only about 50 of those bits reach conscious awareness. The rest? Your brain filters them automatically. Every object in your visual field competes for that narrow bandwidth of attention. A coffee cup, a stack of mail, a cable, a hair tie, a sticky note from 3 weeks ago. Each one is a micro demand on your cognitive resources, and your brain cannot distinguish between I need to file this text document and there is a predator in the room. At the level of the nervous system, they both register as unfinished business. Some of you have been telling yourselves that you work better in chaos, that the mess is just created, that you know where everything is. That is not what the data says. Let me introduce you to cognitive law theory. It was developed by educational psychologist John Sveller in the late 1980s, but its implications extend far beyond the classroom. Sveller proposed that our working memory, the mental workspace where we hold and manipulate information, has a fixed capacity. When that capacity is exceeded, learning stops, problem solving stops. Your brain literally cannot compute what it needs to compute. Now, what happens when your physical environment is full of objects that are not where they belong to? Each object represents a decision that has not been made. Do I keep this? Do I throw it away? Does it go upstairs? Do I need to respond to this? Each unnamed decision occupies a slot in your working memory, even when you are not actively thinking about it. Psychologists called it the Zeigarnik Effect. It was discovered by Bloom Zeigarnik in the 1920s, and it describes something you experience every single day. Your brain remembers unfinished tasks better than completed ones. The open loop stays active. It demands closure. And when hundreds of tiny open loops surround you in the form of objects, your working memory is overbooked. I want you to do something with me right now. Look around the room you are in. Count how many things you see that are out of place, things that belong somewhere else. things you have been meaning to deal with. That number, whatever it is how many open loops your brain is holding right now, not metaphorically, neurologically. There is a second mechanism at play, and this one is even more insidious. Your prefrontal cortex is the most recently evolved part of your brain. It is responsible for executive function, impulse control, planning, decision making, emotion regulation. It is what separates us from impulsive, reactive behavior. But the prefrontal cortex is also the most energy demanding region in the brain. It fatigues. And when it fatigues, you lose the ability to resist impulses, to think long term, to make thoughtful choices. A 2016 study published in the Journal of Environmental Psychology examined this directly. Researchers had participants complete cognitive tasks in either an organized or disorganized office environment. The result, those in the cluttered environment showed significantly lower persistence on difficult tasks and made more impulsive decisions, including higher consumption of unhealthy snacks. Let me translate that for you. The clutter in your environment is not just annoying. It is actively depleting the neural resources you need to make good decisions about your food, your time, your relationships, your life. This is not about aesthetics. This is not about being tidy. This is about preserving the cognitive bandwidth you need to function as the person you want to be. What happens in the evening? You come home, you intend to rest, but your living room is full of visual noise. Your kitchen counter has things on it. Your bedroom has a chair that has become a clothing storage unit. Your amygdala does not take the evening off. It scans the environment continuously. This is autonomic, below conscious awareness. And each time it registers an object that is out of place, it sends a signal that says, "This is unresolved. Stay alert." This is why some of you cannot fully exhale in your own homes. This is why you scroll your phone for 45 minutes before bed. Your environment is not signaling safety, so your brain will not initiate the parasympathetic shift. You need to rest. Your home should be the place where your nervous system can downregulate. But for many of you, your home is keeping you in a low-grade sympathetic state, the fight or flight mode, branch of your autonomic nervous system every single day. And the cortisol that produces, it does not just affect your mood. Chronic cortisol elevation suppresses immune function, impairs memory consolidation, accelerates cellular aging through telomere shortening, and contributes to visceral fat accumulation. The objects in your home are not neutral, they are neurochemical triggers. Now, let me tell you the good news, and it's really good news. When researchers at UCLA Center of Everyday Lives and Families studied the psychological effect of decluttering, they found something remarkable. As physical clutter was removed, cortisol levels dropped measurably. In some participants, significantly. Mood improved. And perhaps most fascinated by the effect was not just about the absence of stress. Participants reported a sense of control and agency that had been absent before. Here is what that means for you. The same neuroarchitecture that works against you in a cluttered environment works for you in an ordered one. Your amygdala quiets, your prefrontal cortex recovers capacity, your working memory is freed, your cortisol drops. And this is not something that requires personality transplant or a lifetime of minimalist discipline. It requires a protocol. In my next lecture, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do this. Not with a garbage bag and a weekend of cleaning, which does not work, but with a systemic neuroscience-based approach I've called the 4-zone protocol. We will address 4 specific zones of your life: your sleep environment, your focus environment, your input environment, and your recovery environment. Each zone has its own neuro demands, and each zone requires a different strategy. But for now, I want you to sit with this one idea. The clutter you have been tolerating is not neutral. It is costing you your clarity, your calm, your cognitive function, and your long-term health. And that is something you can fix. I will see you in my next lecture, the Declutter Protocol.